So it's Labor Day weekend. I hope everybody is having a wonderful Labor Day weekend. I hope you're all happy and healthy. And because it's Labor Day weekend, there is a sale going on at theduabrand.com. As a matter of fact, a bunch of new drops, I think close to 20 if I'm not mistaken. Here we have two of them. This one is actually the second fragrance within the Scent Memory collection by Nomad Profumo, which is a sister brand to Dua Fragrances. This one is called Paris. And then we also have another original creation called Out at Sea, a really wonderful aquatic fragrance, a little green and a little spicy as well. I'm excited to give you my thoughts on both of these fragrances in today's double feature, so make sure to stay tuned. Before I begin today's episode on these two fragrances by Dua Fragrances, well, this one is actually the sister company, Nomad Profumo, I do want to start things off by saying that if you are a fan of fragrance-related content, please do consider supporting the channel by subscribing to it. Hit the bell icon so you could be notified whenever I do upload future videos to the channel. And of course, give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it or if you took something of value from today's episode. It would really mean a lot to me. Now, I actually do own the first fragrance that Nomad Profumo came out with, and it's called the Scent Memory Miami. That was a really nice minty aquatic fragrance, a bunch of citrus, quite long lasting too, despite the classification. This one is called Paris, and it's a very gourmand fragrance. So there's like a waffle accord in here. There's vanilla ice cream, creme brulee. There's a lot of really interesting ingredients, caramel as well. And then we have Out at Sea, which is predominantly a citrusy and aquatic fragrance. As far as the note breakdown is concerned, there's a lot more aquatic notes or accords in here, like a marine accord, a sea salt accord, so on and so forth. But it also gets quite spicy as well. I'll be sure to let you know exactly what I think of both of these fragrances, really try to break down the scent for each one. Let's start things off with the presentation. Now, the first fragrance that I will start things off with is Out at Sea, and this is the one that, in my opinion, is the most season appropriate. So I know it's September, but it's still quite warm outside. We might get a few windy evenings every once in a while, but this one opens up very fresh and very citrusy. Now, the opening of this fragrance has this zesty appeal. There's a bunch of different citrus ingredients. Not too many are listed in the note breakdown, but I am getting kind of like this bergamot and lemon combination in the opening. Very bright, very effervescent. Definitely put you in the mindset of summer. Now, this does actually get a little salty. So there is this aquatic tinge in the opening, and I could compare it to something like Bulgari Aqua, just if you want like a frame of reference of what this fragrance kind of smells similar to. So it kind of has that salty introduction, but there's a lot more happening in here. So looking at the note breakdown, there's cardamom, there's pink pepper, there's ginger. So there's a lot of spicy ingredients before we get to that base of vetiver. And this one is very animated, just very lively, very happy. And so this is the type of fragrance that I see a lot of people just wearing in a carefree manner because it's kind of a no-brainer. It smells great. It doesn't leave much to the imagination, but it is a complex fragrance. And so if you're looking for something that not only has really good longevity, because I got upwards of like 8 hours from it, but something that also remains that zesty appeal throughout the life of it with some aquatic touches, Out at Sea is really, really well done. And I know the brand has done some aquatic fragrances in the past. I'm not quite remembering if they are originals or inspired expressions. I know there's one called Mediterranean Sea, and then there's also Flagship 1, Flagship 3. Both of those I truly love. So here we have Nomad Profumo. This one is called a Scent Memory Paris. And this is inspired by the CEO of the brand's travels to different parts of the globe. And so the first one was inspired by his trip or trips to Miami. This one is Paris. And of course, you think of all of the, bakeries and all of the gourmand ingredients and smells wafting in the air. So this one does open up kind of sweet, actually very sweet. This is a gourmand through and through. And the first thing that I noticed about this fragrance is that bright, sort of thick, sweet, cotton candy-like syrupy sensation that I got from it. So for me, it kind of reminds me, if you've ever tried Rochas for men, that fragrance kind of has like this maple syrup vibe about it. Also, New Harlem by Bond No. 9. Gosh, I haven't mentioned that fragrance on this channel in over a year. This fragrance kind of has that similar Immortelle maple syrup gourmand confectionery kind of a vibe, but there's a lot of other things happening in here. There's definitely a caramel vibe. There's definitely a vanilla tone in here as well. Vanilla ice cream is listed as one of the accords, and when you smell it, sure enough, you do get that syrupy sensation. You do get this praline vibe. You do get the vanilla. So this is a very strong and rich and potent gourmand fragrance. So I think a lot of people who are fans of some of the sweeter fragrances that the brand has to offer, if you ever tried Belgian Choco Truffle, I think that one is amazing, especially if you're a fan of chocolate. That one is kind of a no-brainer. This one is divine, right? So this is a great gourmand fragrance. The price is right. They are currently running a very strong promotion with discounts. So I would definitely encourage people to take advantage of it now during Labor Day weekend, which is where I think it's like 30% off when usually it's like 20 or 25. So this is definitely the biggest deal that you're going to get for a while, probably until like, I don't know, Thanksgiving or something like that. But truth be told, both of these are wonderful, very different from one another. Paris lasts maybe a couple hours longer than Out at Sea. So you're going to get probably 10 hours longevity from Paris, probably 8 hours from Out at Sea. But the quality for both is really good. The concentration is really strong. And you have an aquatic and a gourmand. And let's finish things off with my overall assessment. So first up, in terms of the uniqueness and the overall smell, I think both of these fragrances are quite unique. Paris doesn't really remind me of anything else. I know I mentioned New Harlem, but it's a very mild comparison. Out at Sea kind of reminds me of Elation by Navitus Parfum, but even then, this one is a lot more salty and it definitely goes in its own direction. So the uniqueness for both of these is very strong, and the overall smell, I think Out at Sea is going to be the compliment getter, but I think Paris also has the ability to work its magic in a very nice way, as long as you don't over apply with it, because it's really dense, really sweet, especially on a hot day. Some gourmand fragrances can end up being a little bit cloying. Longevity, you're going to look at 8 hours from Out at Sea, 10 hours from Paris. Projection, great for both of them. Out at Sea projected beyond an arm's length. Paris within an arm's length. Both of them became an elbow's length scent right around hour 5, and the skin scenting happened around hours 8 and 10 respectively. Versatility, Out at Sea, dressed up, dressed down, anybody of any age, any time of the year, incredibly versatile. Paris, though, I would say save it for the colder weather. Also completely unisex, and I can see it appealing to somebody who's a little bit younger because of all of the sweet ingredients that are in here. And as far as the presentation goes, I know this is going to trigger a lot of people's OCD, but Dua has changed their caps again. So people who are used to the sort of conical looking caps, very similar to Encounter Scents, now it's going to be something a little bit more on the cylindrical side of things. But nevertheless, the presentation for both is really nice. My final verdict is, if you are looking for a really nice aquatic and a really decadent gourmand fragrance, you are going to find that with Out at Sea and Paris respectively. I hope you enjoyed this review. Thank you so much for watching. If you did, please do consider supporting the channel by subscribing to it. Hit the bell icon so you could be notified whenever I do upload future videos to the channel. And give this video a thumbs up if you learned something today. It would really mean the world to me. Thanks for watching. Love you all. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.